When diving into the real estate market, whether buying or renting, it's easy to get swept up in the excitement of finding your dream property or securing that perfect deal. However, as with any market, the world of real estate can be rife with scams and bad deals that can cause financial havoc, legal complications, and long-lasting frustration. Recognizing the warning signs of these bad deals early on can make all the difference between a smooth transaction and a disaster. It's essential to be aware that real estate scams come in many forms, from fraudulent listings to unscrupulous agents, fake documentation, and even more complex schemes that involve fake investment opportunities or title fraud. Understanding the common tactics used by scammers can help you protect yourself and your investment. One of the first steps in avoiding real estate scams is to thoroughly research the property, the seller, and the surrounding area. Scammers are often skilled at crafting attractive listings that appeal to buyers' desires for a good deal, but a little extra effort on your part can expose any red flags. Start by conducting a background check on the seller or agent. If you're working with an agent, make sure they are licensed and registered with the appropriate regulatory body. If you can't find any official credentials or if there are complaints about the agent, it's a huge red flag. Another step is to verify the property itself. In today's digital age, it's easy to access public property records, and this should be one of the first things you do when considering a new property. This will help confirm that the seller is indeed the rightful owner and that there are no liens or encumbrances on the property. Scammers often try to sell properties that they don't own or that have outstanding debts tied to them. By checking the records, you can ensure that the person you're dealing with actually has the legal right to sell the property. Next, one of the most obvious yet often overlooked signs of a scam is when a deal seems too good to be true. If you come across a property that is significantly cheaper than similar properties in the area, or if it promises extraordinary returns for minimal investment, you should be especially cautious. Scammers use these types of offers to lure buyers into their schemes, knowing that many people, especially first-time buyers or investors, will be attracted to the idea of an unbeatable deal. Remember, there is no such thing as a guaranteed profit in real estate, and if a deal seems too good to be true, it most likely is. Another key point to watch for is the demand for upfront payment. Whether you're buying, renting, or investing, a legitimate transaction typically involves a series of steps that include some due diligence, verification, and careful planning. However, if a seller or agent demands a significant amount of money up front, especially before you've seen the property or signed any legal agreements, it's likely a scam. This is one of the most common tactics employed by scammers. They get you to part with your money quickly and then vanish. Always ask for a formal contract and don't make any payments until you're certain the deal is legitimate. In addition to these obvious warning signs, scammers often employ more subtle tactics that may require a little more discernment to identify. For example, a seller who is overly eager to rush you into making a decision without giving you enough time to think it through or review the paperwork may be trying to push you into a hasty decision before you have a chance to spot any issues. Similarly, if an agent is vague or evasive when you ask specific questions about the property, the price, or the terms of the sale, that's another red flag. A legitimate seller or agent should be transparent and more than happy to answer your questions or provide you with additional details to help you make an informed decision. It's also crucial to be aware of fraudulent listings. With the rise of online real estate platforms, it's easier than ever for scammers to create fake listings for properties they don't own. These listings may use photos of properties that don't even exist, or they may use photos of other homes without permission to make the listing appear more legitimate. If you're considering a property you found online, be sure to verify its existence through other means. For instance, you can try contacting the local authorities or checking the listing on multiple platforms to see if the details match up. Another common scam involves phantom rentals, where a property is listed as available for rent, but the scammer is simply trying to get you to wire money or send a deposit to secure the rental. Often these scams happen when the person listing the property claims to be out of the country or unavailable to meet in person, which is why they request the payment to be made online or by wire transfer. Always be cautious when you encounter rental listings that only offer limited contact or ask for payment before you've had a chance to tour the property or meet the landlord. When you are dealing with a property investment, whether for personal use or as part of a larger portfolio, always be cautious of offers that promise high returns with little risk. In particular, you should be skeptical of off-market deals or exclusive properties that are being pitched by a third party with a too good to pass up offer. Real estate is a market that involves risk, and while you can certainly make money, there is no such thing as a guaranteed return. Be wary of anyone who downplays or ignores the risks of a deal, as they are likely trying to hide some aspect of the transaction that could ultimately harm you. Additionally, another important thing to watch out for is fake documentation or incorrect paperwork. Many scams in the real estate market involve forged documents or altered contracts, making it difficult for the buyer to tell whether the paperwork is legitimate or not. Always review documents carefully before signing them. And if something seems off, don't hesitate to have an attorney or a professional real estate agent look over the documents. A legitimate seller or agent should never push you to rush through this process. If you're investing in real estate remotely or from out of town, it's crucial to be even more diligent. In these situations, you might not be able to visit the property or meet the seller in person. Scammers take advantage of the fact that remote transactions can be harder to verify and that buyers may not be as familiar with the local market. To protect yourself in these situations, it's a good idea to work with a local real estate agent or hire a third-party company to conduct an inspection on your behalf. Additionally, consider asking the seller for a video tour of the property or arranging for a trusted friend or colleague in the area to visit and verify the property. Another helpful tip in avoiding scams is to always insist on working with licensed professionals. Whether it's a real estate agent, a lawyer, or a title company, professionals in the industry are trained to identify warning signs, and they have access to the tools and databases that can help you confirm that everything is legitimate. While you might have to pay for these services, the peace of mind they offer is well worth the investment. Real estate scams are often highly sophisticated, but with a healthy amount of skepticism, research, and due diligence, you can avoid falling victim to one. The key is not rushing into anything, asking questions, and being cautious when something doesn't feel right. Scammers thrive on desperation and haste, so the more patient and methodical you are, the less likely you are to fall for their tricks. In conclusion, spotting real estate scams and avoiding bad deals boils down to one simple principle: trust but verify. Always take the time to ensure that the property, the seller, and the terms of the deal are legitimate. Stay vigilant, ask questions, and never let anyone pressure you into making a decision before you're ready. Protecting yourself in the real estate market requires knowledge, awareness, and caution. By following the advice shared in this speech, you'll be well equipped to spot a scam from a mile away, ensuring that your real estate transactions are both safe and successful. Before engaging in any real estate transaction, conducting thorough research is critical to ensure that the deal is legitimate and secure. One of the first steps is verifying the property's ownership. Public property records are often easily accessible online through government websites or local county records. These records will tell you whether the seller is the rightful owner and if there are any encumbrances like liens, unpaid taxes, or pending legal disputes associated with the property. Scammers may try to sell properties they don't own or properties that have serious financial or legal issues attached to them. By cross-checking ownership information, you can protect yourself from falling victim to fraud. Equally important is confirming the credentials of the real estate agent or broker you're working with. Real estate agents are required to be licensed in most areas, and a reputable agent should be able to provide you with their license number and proof of registration. It's a good idea to check the agent's background by looking them up on state or national licensing boards to ensure their license is current and in good standing. A quick search of the agent's name or brokerage can also reveal reviews, complaints, or any disciplinary actions that might raise red flags. Beware of unlicensed or too good to be true agents who rush you into making decisions. If an agent or seller is unable or unwilling to provide clear proof of ownership or professional credentials, consider it a warning sign. Always take the time to verify credentials and ask for references. Taking shortcuts when it comes to verifying the legitimacy of the property or individuals involved can leave you vulnerable to fraudulent schemes or bad deals. When it comes to real estate, one of the most common red flags is a deal that appears too good to be true. Scammers often prey on buyers' desires to secure a bargain or make a quick profit by offering properties at prices well below market value or making promises of high returns with minimal risk. These offers might seem enticing, especially to first-time buyers or investors eager to capitalize on what appears to be a great opportunity. However, deals that are significantly below market value or come with overly optimistic promises should raise immediate suspicion. The real estate market is competitive, and properties rarely sell for much less than their worth without some underlying issue. It's essential to pause and question why such an offer is available. More often than not, it's an attempt to manipulate buyers into making hasty decisions. Another critical warning sign is the demand for upfront payments. Scammers often ask for a large sum of money before any legal agreement is signed or the buyer has had a chance to visit the property or even confirm its existence. Whether it's a deposit, an advance fee, or an urgent request for payment to hold the property, this is one of the most prevalent tactics used in real estate scams. Genuine transactions typically involve a process of due diligence, including property inspections, contract reviews, and legal formalities. There should be no rush to commit to significant financial payments before you have thoroughly vetted the property and the deal. Reputable real estate transactions provide transparency, and legitimate agents or sellers will not pressure you into making immediate decisions. They will allow you time to review the contract, inspect the property, and ensure that the terms are clear and fair. If someone is trying to push you into making a quick payment or decision, it's likely that they are hiding something, and it's better to walk away than risk losing money to a scam. One of the most important aspects of protecting yourself in a real estate transaction is being vigilant about the documents and communication you receive. Scammers often rely on fake or altered contracts to deceive buyers, and discrepancies in the paperwork are one of the first indicators that something is wrong. If you notice anything unusual, such as missing information, incorrect dates, vague terms, or terms that seem out of place, it's crucial to question the legitimacy of the documents. In some cases, fraudsters will alter contracts or use forged documents to make a deal appear legitimate. These documents may look official at first glance, but upon closer inspection, you may notice errors or inconsistencies that should raise alarm bells. Another red flag to be aware of is when the seller or agent demands payment before a contract is signed or without providing a formal agreement. Legitimate transactions involve a clear and thorough contract that outlines the terms and protects both parties. If someone pressures you to send money quickly, or if they avoid discussing terms until after payment is made, it's a clear sign of a scam. Always insist on seeing and reviewing the contract before making any payment, and never send money unless you're confident the deal is legitimate and all terms are clearly documented. In addition to scrutinizing the paperwork, be cautious of how the seller or agent communicates with you. If they are overly eager, pushy, or constantly urging you to make a decision quickly, it could indicate they are trying to rush you into something that isn't in your best interest. A legitimate agent or seller will be transparent and allow you time to think over the deal, ask questions, and seek legal advice if needed. Any reluctance to provide full details or avoid direct communication should be seen as a major red flag. Always take the time to review everything carefully and consult professionals if you're uncertain about the legitimacy of the documents or the deal itself.